Hello, New Jersey learners. My name is Maggie Riley, and I teach third grade at Stanhope at Valley Road School. And I'm so excited to get to be here with you guys today. We're going to get to do a little bit of math and some fraction work together, and even play around with fractions in our own name. But first, I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a chance to get to know me a little bit better so you can feel more comfortable, just like I would with my students in the beginning of a new school year. So, we're going to play one of my favorite icebreaker games. It's called Two Truths and One Lie. So, during this game, Two Truths and a Lie, you want to give yourself 3 facts. So, I'm going to tell you guys 3 facts about me, but one of them is not going to be true. And it's your job to try to figure out which one it is. So, let's see if you can do it. Here are my 3 facts. 1, I have a wonderful dog named Davy Crockett. 2, I love the color purple. It is by far the best color in the whole world. And my 3rd fact is that I lived in North Carolina for 3 years. See if you can figure out which one of those is the truth and which one is the lie. Well, I'll tell you. The 2 facts about me that were true were 1, that I have a wonderful dog named Davy Crockett. He is 5 years old and he is so sweet. The 2nd fact that was true about me is that I have lived in North Carolina for 3 years. I went to East Carolina University for college, and that is in Greenville, North Carolina. I loved living there. It was so different, and it was a really great experience. Then, what was the lie? That I think the color purple is the best. I do love the color purple, but I bet my students back at VRS can remember that my favorite color in the whole world is green. The color of my sweatshirt that I'm wearing. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little game, and that's something super easy and fun that you need no materials to do, and you can play that game anytime you'd like with your neighbors, your friends, your family, or anyone who's at home with you. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on our first mini lesson. Alright guys, and we are back. So, we're going to talk a little bit about fractions and just review what we know about them. So we know that fractions show equal parts of a whole. This word equal is very important. If the parts are not equally broken up, then we cannot correctly write a fraction. So let's think about the parts of the fraction. We have our numerator. The numerator is the top number of our fraction, and it is the number of parts that are counted. Then we have the denominator. Ooh, that one's a tough one to say. I'll say it again for you. Denominator. And that is the equal parts of the whole. How many parts is that whole broken up into? So, our fraction that we have here is 4/6. I'm going to show 2 models of 4/6. You can already see that these shapes, or the wholes, are broken up into 6 equal parts. Now I want to show the numerator 4/6, and that is the number of parts that are counted. So I'm going to use my fun pink marker to go ahead and color in 4/6 of each shape. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 are colored in out of the 6 that we have. I'm going to do the same thing on my other model. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 4/6 of this are colored. And now we want to talk a little bit about another vocabulary word, unit fractions. When we think about unit fractions, our numerator is always 1. So you can see I've listed some unit fractions here for us. Their numerators are all 1, and they each represent a part of the whole. So, let's go ahead and draw these unit fractions together. 1/4. I know I need to break up my whole into 4 equal parts. Now, when we're breaking up a whole into equal parts, we want to really try our best to make sure they are equal. The way that I do that is that I first break it into half. I have 2 equal parts, and then I break that in half. I have 4, not so equal parts. Miss Riley's going to go ahead and redraw that one because it is not so equal. It can be very tricky sometimes, but as long as we're trying our best, there we go. Now, each one of these squares is 1/4. That is our unit fraction. It represents every piece. 1/2. First, I need to break it into 2 equal parts. Now I can see each one of these pieces or parts of the whole is 1/2. They are the unit fractions. And let's do one more, 1/6. This time, I'm going to break it into a nice 3 equal parts and then split that down the middle. Each one of these is 1/6. That is the unit fractions. The next vocab word that we're going to talk about is when we are representing the whole. So it's actually almost like the opposite of our unit fraction. So instead of representing each part, we want to represent the whole thing. When we do that, we always have the same numerator and denominator. So, how many parts are in this whole? 2. And how many of them am I counting? 2. Moving to the second one, how many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm counting all 6. And last one, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm counting all 4. Something very important to remember about fractions that represent the whole is that they are equal to 1. And that is because they represent one whole shape. All right, guys, so now we're going to do some actual practice ones together. So I have pulled up some slides with fraction models on them, and we're going to tell what fraction of the model is shaded. Now, I'm going to be typing the fractions this time instead of writing them. So I want you to just realize that they're going to be slanted and kind of going horizontal and not vertical like you are just used to seeing them. But we'll take a look. What's this first one? So, what is the shaded area of this model? What fraction represents it? Well, first we need to find our denominator, our number on the bottom. That tells us how many parts is this whole broken up into. Well, let's count. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. That is my denominator. Now to find my numerator, I need to figure out how many of those parts are shaded. So let's count how many of them are shaded yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fraction that represents this model is 5/6. All right. Moving on to number 2. So how many parts? What's our denominator? How many parts? Well, let's count. 1, 2. So this shape is broken in halves, 2 parts. And 1 is colored pink. So 1/2 of this model is shaded. Let's do one more together, and then you guys are going to get to practice a few with me. So this one has how many parts? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are in sixths again. And now what is our numerator? What's the shaded area that is represented? 1/6. All right. So here we go. And let's go ahead and grab a timer so that you guys can see how much time you have left. I'm going to give you 1 minute to try to figure it out at home. 1 minute timer. All right. So here we go. All right. So here we go. What fraction would represent this shaded model? You guys have 1 minute, and then I will go ahead and go over the answer. About halfway there, guys. About 30 seconds left. Remember to first find your denominator and then find your numerator. How many parts? And then how many parts are shaded? About 10 more seconds. All right, and that is our time. So let's go ahead now and fill this out together. What unit or what fraction represents this model? First, our denominator is 5 parts. And there are 3 of them colored in. Good. So then we want to count how many of those parts are shaded in. And here it is 3. So 3/5 is shaded in. Awesome job, you guys. All right. So I'm only going to give you guys 15 seconds for the next few. But go ahead and try to figure out what fraction would represent this shaded area. Remember, first find your denominator, then your numerator. All right, let's go ahead and answer them together now. So, our denominator, or how many parts we have, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this one is broken into tenths. And there are 2 parts of that 10 colored in. 2/10 would represent this model. Awesome job. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. What fraction would represent this model? You guys have 15 seconds. Okay, we did. So, fifth is the fraction that represents this model. All right. So this time you're going to have to tell me A, B, C, or D. Which model represents fraction 1? So fifth is the fraction that represents model. So this time you're going to have to tell me A, B, C, or D. Which model represents fraction 1? Remember, 6, your numerator is going to represent how many are shaded in. So, which fraction represents 1/6 correctly? So, which fraction represents 1/6 correctly? The answer here is D. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Now, broken up correctly, those eighths. Up correctly, those eighths. All right, so let's keep going. This time it says which model is representing eighths. So here you guys want to not worry about the fraction itself, but just worry about, is it equally being broken up into 8 parts? Good luck. All right, so let's see how we did. Which one is correctly broken up into 8 equal parts? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't be D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't be C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it is B. B represents which model is broken into eighths. All right, one more. Sam shaded in 3/4 of his model. Which model is Sam's? Three-fourths. 3 parts out of the 4 will be colored in. Okay, let's see how you did. Which one of these is representing 3/4? Well, first, it can't be D. There's only 3 parts of that whole. And it can't be A. There's only 2 parts. So it can be B or C. They are both correctly broken up into 4 equal parts. But our numerator here is 3. And Sam shaded 3. So he colored in 3, which makes us know our answer is B. Awesome job, you guys. Let's go ahead and take our first brain break. All right, guys, we're going to take our first brain break today. And so we're going to do one of my favorite activities to do with my students, and that is breathe like a bear. So these are just some mindfulness breathing activities that you can do anytime you're feeling stressed, or you need some energy, or you want to calm down, or just anytime that you feel like you need a little something. So we're going to try three of my favorite ones. So the first step is to get into a nice comfy spot. So you can see that I chose my bed. It is my favorite comfy spot in the house, and it's nice to be able to lean back and lay, or to be able to just sit up if you'd like. The first one that we're going to do is called candle breath. Here's the fun picture that it comes with. So, imagine you are holding a candle. Take a long breath in and slowly blow the air out towards your candle. Good. You want to blow the air out slow so that you can make your candle flame wiggle, but you don't want to blow it out. Long breath in, slow breath out. In. One more, and this time, long breath in, and then blow out that candle. Good. Awesome job, you guys. All right. The next one we are going to do is definitely by far my hands down favorite one to do in the morning. Because I don't know about you guys, but in the morning sometimes I am tired, and you really just need to go ahead and wake up your face. And so that's what we are going to do today. We're going to wake up our face. Where is it? There we go. Wake up your face. All right. So, this one is also really fun because when you're doing it, you get to make silly faces, so I hope that you make them along with me. All right. Open your eyes wide and blink them 3 times. Wiggle your eyebrows up and down. Wiggle your nose like a bunny. Open your mouth really wide and wiggle your jaw back and forth. Stick your tongue out as far as it will go. Can you make a fishy face? Wiggle your whole head around carefully. Now, hold your body still. Take a long breath in and out. Awesome job. Now your face is a little bit more awake and ready to start your day. The last one that we are going to do is one that I suggest to all of my students to really use when they feel like they are stressed out. And it's really cool to look up and see some of my students really use this in their life. I use it all the time. And it's called Take 5. So anytime that you need to, you can take 5. Here's how you do it. You trace your hand, and when you go up your finger, you breathe in. And when you go down, you breathe out. And that way you get 5 nice deep breaths. Let's try it together. Good. And those are just some awesome ways for you to calm down, get focused, get energized, or get ready for your day. I hope you enjoyed. Now, let's go ahead and get back to our fractions. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that brain break. We're going to go ahead and move forward with our fraction knowledge and talk about fractions and how they look on a number line. So, what do the parts of each fraction represent for us? That top number 3, that represents the number of parts that we have, and our bottom number represents the total number of parts that are in that whole. Do you guys remember what the names of these fraction parts are? What is the name of the top of our fraction? Good. It's the numerator. Again, that tells us how many parts are being counted. What's the bottom number of our fraction called? Good. The denominator. And that tells us how many parts are there. Now, when we are thinking about one whole, we can see that we can break it into unit fractions, like 1/2 and 1/2, and that represents each part. But then we remember that it can also be represented as the whole and be equal to 1. Now, what is a number line? A number line is a diagram that represents numbers as points on a line. And a number line is divided up into equal intervals, just like our whole shapes are broken up and divided up into equal parts. We count these intervals to see how numbers are related to each other. We don't count how many tick marks we see, though. 1, 2, 3. Instead, we count how many intervals there are, or how many jumps we're going to take. So let's count together here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you would want to make sure that you are watching, that each jump is equally apart, and that you are not starting by counting 1. You need to make sure you count 1. So fraction number lines are always placed between 0 and 1 because we are talking about one whole. So you need to think of your fraction number line as your one whole chocolate bar or your one whole model. And the intervals or the spaces between 0 and 1, they represent our denominator or what type of fraction is being represented. So we can count here that there are 1, 2, 3 intervals. So we know this number line is broken up into thirds. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. But we don't write 3/3, we just write that whole number 1. So now if we are working with fourths, our number line is divided into 4 equal intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 is represented as one whole. Here is an example of sixths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sixths. Awesome. So we can see here that now we want to talk about what fraction does each dot represent. All right, so now let's look at some examples together. So, what fraction does this red dot represent? Well, first we need to count our intervals to find out what our denominator is, and then we'll figure out which fraction it's on. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our fraction is broken up into sixths. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6 is our fraction. What fraction does this dot represent? Again, first we will find our intervals. How many parts? 1, 2. So this one is broken in halves. And it is at 1/2. Good. Go ahead and see if you can figure this one out on your own. First, figure out your denominator. How many intervals do you have? And then count each fraction. 1, 2, 3. The number line is in thirds. 1/3. Very good. Go ahead and try again. Remember to count for your denominator first, and then count your fraction where the dot is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are in sixth again. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and do a few more examples on the whiteboard. All right, guys, so let's do a few more examples of those fractions on a number line, but let's do them drawing them ourselves. So, let's think about the fraction 3/4. That first fraction that we looked at. First, I want to draw myself a nice number line. And as I know, I'm going to start representing 0 and 1. Then I want to go ahead now and break my number line up into 4 equal intervals. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see that I have used my jumping method to make 4 nice equal intervals. And now I can go ahead and count. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. And I can draw a little dot for myself. I could draw a heart. But then I want to make sure I go ahead and label my number line. Good. Let's try another. This time I want to represent the fraction 6/8. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my number line. And I draw it as straight and neat as I can. And I want to label them 0 and 1. And then I want to use my jump method to go ahead and break it into 8 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I didn't really draw a new line for my 8th equal part because there was already a ending interval line there. All right. Now I want to go ahead and count to 6/8. So here we go. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8. Awesome job. Now, I'm going to go ahead and draw a fraction on a number line, one last one, and see if you can tell me what it is. So, let's see. Draw my nice line, plot my 0 and my 1, and now I'm going to break it up into a mystery amount of intervals. And then I'm going to give you guys a nice big heart. You have to tell me what fraction would represent this heart on a number line. So first count your intervals. What are your equal parts? How many are there? And then plot your heart. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So I know my denominator is 5. Then I'm going to count 1/5, 2/5. And now I know my heart is at 2/5 on my number line. Awesome job, guys. I think it's time to take another little brain break before we go ahead and do our last activity. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys 2 minutes to go ahead and try to solve these 4. So you want to look at each number line and find what fraction is at that point. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to try and think of all 4, and then I will go ahead and go over them right before our brain break. Good luck. About halfway there, guys. 1 minute left. Ten more seconds. All right. So let's go ahead now and go over them. Remember that we first need to find our denominator by counting how many intervals does the number line have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this number line is broken up into fourths. And it is 1/4, 2/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This number line is broken up into eighths. And our dot is on 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. All right, number 3. The denominator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our dot, our numerator, is on 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. And last one, 1, 2, 3. The number line is broken into thirds, and our dot is on 1/3. All right, now let's go ahead and take that brain break. Okay, so let's take another little brain break before we do our really fun activity with our names. So this is another one of my favorite games that my class and I like to play together. It gets us really discussing some interesting things, and we learn so much about each other. And it's called Would You Rather. So I have picked out 5 of my favorite Would You Rather questions, and I'm going to answer them for you, and then you guys can answer them at home to yourself, or you can try to start some conversations with people around you later. All right, so the first one is, would you rather be a bird or a fish? This one is tough. I would have to say I definitely think that I would rather be a fish. Only because I have been on an airplane, so I've gotten to see some of the cool things above the sky, and you can see lots and lots of pictures, but I've never gotten to go in a submarine, and I probably never ever will. So I think it'd be really cool to go down into the deep, deep ocean and get to see what it's like down there, especially since the ocean is really so unexplored. We don't know that much about it. Would I rather spend a day at the beach or hiking? Okay. Well, I'll be honest, I could go either way with one of these. It really would depend on how I was feeling. If I wanted to go relax and go to the beach, or if I wanted to go on a nice hike. I would have to think, though, that I would probably pick beach most of the time because I'm a super busy person and I never really give myself time to relax. So I think going to the beach would be helpful. And then I could see some of those fish. All right. Would I rather live on a farm or in the mountains? I think it would be really cool to live on a farm. Have so many animals. You could have your own eggs, your own produce, and that kind of thing. You get to work really hard at something with your family or with your people who you're on the farm with. But I also think I would love to be up in the mountains with that nice view and fresh air. So I think I'm going to have to pick mountains. Ooh, this is a good one. Would you rather be 6 inches tall or 6 feet tall? Okay. This one is easy for me. I would rather be 6 inches. I would rather be tiny, tiny, tiny. That way I could sneak around like a little leprechaun and nobody would know what I was doing. It would be so fun to be able to get into movies for free or be able to go into the mall without anyone seeing you. But it would be really tough to find clothes and shoes. But being 6 feet tall, you would always stick out. And I just don't think that I would want to be that tall forever and ever and ever. So I think I'm going to pick 6 inches. All right, and last one. Would you rather be super, super funny or super, super smart? Well, I think that being smart is something that we can all work on as well and kind of better ourselves at. So I think I'm going to pick super funny because you can always go and learn more. But I think that making people laugh and sharing smiles and things like that is really what just fuels our world. So I would want to be super funny and try to make everyone laugh, and I would just want to make everyone be smiling and happy. All right. So like I said, this was just a fun, quick little break. You can find and make up your own. There are so many ways you could play this game. All right, let's get back to our last activity where we're going to create some fractions in our own name. All right, guys, so like I've been saying from the beginning, we're going to be doing an awesome, fun fraction activity with our name. So what you're going to need is anything you can write on, paper plate, paper. You could go outside and write on your sidewalk with chalk or anything like that. And we're going to go ahead and first write our name. So my first name is Maggie, and I'm going to write it in all different colors just because I am very silly and I like to write in just rainbow colors. So just writing my name, and I'm deciding to write mine in all capital letters just so that you can see it nice and big, but that's up to you. You don't have to make yours in capital letters. All right, so here is my name. Now I want to go ahead and I'm going to create a fraction representation, a model of my name. So how many letters are in my name, or how many parts are in my name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to break it up into 6 equal parts. And I'm kind of using the letters of my name to help me make those equal parts. So I might need to erase or adjust a little bit to make them a little bit more equal. All right. Now I have my 6 equal parts, and I want to write inside of it what the unit fraction is that represents each part. I remember that unit fractions always have 1 as their numerator. And so I can also see that they are representing each little part. They are each 1/6. Now I want to go ahead and also plot a number line with my name. So I'm going to first make my nice number line super straight, and I'm going to make my intervals 1, 0 to 1. And I know I'm breaking it up into 6 parts. And again, I'm going to use that model above that helped me make my model to make my intervals. And now I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can even go ahead and make it a little bit cooler and label each fraction with the right color, or I can just label them as they are. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6. Again, I didn't represent 6/6 because it is already represented in that one hole. And then you can go ahead and kind of answer some fun questions about yourself. So let me go ahead and erase, and let's see how many vowels are in my name. Well, vowels are A, E, I, and U. So what fraction of my name is vowels? Well, I know my denominator is going to be 6 because I have 6 parts in my name. And I have 1, 2, 3 vowels. So 3/6 of my name is vowels. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. Except this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my last name. I'm going to write it in one nice color this time. All right, so here's my last name, Riley. And I'm going to go ahead this time and I'm going to make 2 models. I'm going to make 2 models. One that represents each one of my letters, and one that represents where is my I in my name. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I already counted that again. My last name is also in sixths. So I broke up a whole rectangle into 6 parts. Now I want to know what represents each one of these little parts. What fraction represents each letter or each part? Oh, my unit fraction. Remembering that my unit fraction always has a 1 as the numerator and my denominator does not change. Now, what fraction represents the letter I? I want to think of my name as my number line. And I want to think of each letter as an interval. So 1/6, 2/6. The I is at 3/6. Very cool. All right. Let's see. What's another name I can do? Ooh, I remember. Do you guys remember what my fun, wonderful dog's name was from the beginning of the video? All right. Well, let's see if you guessed it right. I'm going to write it in his favorite color, blue. And I'm going to write it in nice, big, capital letters. And let's see if you get it. It is Davy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and see what is the fraction that represents the A in Davy's name. See if you can figure that out. What is the fraction that would represent A in Davy's name? How many parts does his name have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the A is at 1, 2. 2/5. Let's see if we can draw a model for Davy's name. Let's do a number line. Since we really practiced our number line models today, that's what we're going to do for Davy. So I'm going to make my intervals into 5, into fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts on my number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now let's say we want to go ahead and plot the I. I'm going to go ahead and write his name on his little intervals just to help me. And I'm going to plot that the I is 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. So you guys can try this at home with your name, your middle name, your last name, your dog's name, your mailman's name, whoever you want. And it's a really fun way to just practice fractions, and you can ask yourself tons and tons of questions about it. All right, well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope that you had fun playing with fractions, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.